Hello, my name is Mallory Farrell, and my book talk is over The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman. Basic information. The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman is characterized as a young adult literature. The publication date is September 30th, 2008. That's the original one. And he has won the John Newbery Medal, the Hugo Award for Best Novel, Locus Award for Best Young Adult Novel, and the Carnegie Medal. And he's also the only author to win the Newbery and the Carnegie Medal for the same book. And the genre is modern fantasy. Gaiman uses myths, legends, and folklore to develop the characteristics of the supernatural characters throughout the book. And he also makes it a coming-of-age novel because of nobody progressing and going on into his own life after the graveyard. Author and illustrator information. Neil Gaiman, the author, was born in Hampshire, United Kingdom, and now lives in the United States. As a child, some of his favorite authors included C.S. Lewis, J.R.R. Tolkien, James Branch Cabell, Edgar Allan Poe, Michael Moorcock, Ursula K. Le Guin, Gene Wolfe, and G.K. Chesterton. Other books that he has written include Coraline, M is for Magic, Stardust, The Dangerous Alphabet, Mirror Mask, The Wolves in the Walls, The Day I Swapped My Dad for Two Goldfish, and the Sandman series. Dave McKean provides illustrations for the Graveyard Book, and he's also collaborated with Gaiman on 3 children's books, the picture books, which include The Day I Swapped My Dad for Two Goldfish, The Wolves in the Walls, and Crazy Hair. He's also illustrated children's novels, including Coraline and the Graveyard Book for Gaiman. My opinion on this book. I chose to read this book because it was on a John Newbery Award winner list that I looked at. And then after doing some further research, I saw where other websites were recommending it as a must-read. And then I found a short synopsis that I read, and then I decided I had to put the book on my list. And another interesting thing is that Gaiman wrote this book to be similar to The Jungle Book by Rudyard Kipling. As in, there's an orphan and he's raised by something other than humans, particularly for the Graveyard Book ghosts. And he wanted the readers to feel actual empathy for the dead and wonder what it's like to be dead and what it would be like to live in a graveyard. The synopsis. Nobody Owens was orphaned as a toddler and raised in the graveyard after his family was murdered by Jack. He is also known as the Man Jack or Jack Frost. As the story progresses, we travel with Nobody on his daily adventures as he learns the story of all the ghosts in the graveyard. While being raised by the ghosts, he learns supernatural powers that he uses frequently outside of the graveyard. As the story progresses, we learn that Jack is still looking to kill Nobody out of fear of his secret society being destroyed. They're called the Jack of all Trades. When Jack finally finds Nobody, he and members of his society try to kill him. They are all defeated by Nobody in the graveyard with the help of the ghosts and the abilities he's learned while living there. In the end, Nobody begins to lose not only his supernatural abilities, but also the ability to see ghosts. He eventually leaves the graveyard with a passport to embark on his new life. Story highlight. Something that I found interesting in the Graveyard Book was that it contains an epigraph, and it says, "Rattle his bones over the stones. It's only a pauper who nobody owns." A traditional nursery rhyme. And this foreshadows many things in the book. For instance, the theme of death. And it also brings to light how death and how when we lose people, no matter how they were in life or what your prejudices are, whether that be through wealth or any others, that we need to let those go and that we shouldn't treat people based off of their monetary value. For example, in the book, in chapter 4, it says that when Nobody met Leza, that her grave was unkept and that she wasn't even worthy of a headstone because she was so poor. And lastly, the hook. There was a hand in the darkness, and it held a knife. The knife had a handle of polished black bone, and a blade finer and sharper than any razor. If it sliced you, you might not even know you had been cut, not immediately. The knife had done almost everything it was brought to that house to do, and both the blade and the handle were wet. The street door was still open, just a little, where the knife and the man who held it had slipped in, and wisps of nighttime mist slithered and twinched into the house through the open door. The man Jack paused on the landing. With his left hand he pulled a large white handkerchief from the pocket of his black coat, and with it he wiped off the knife in his gloved right hand, which had been holding it. Then he put the handkerchief away. The hunt was almost over. He had left the woman in her bed, the man on the bedroom floor, the older child in her brightly colored bedroom, surrounded by toys and half-finished models. That only left the little one, a baby barely a toddler, to take care of. One more, and his task would be done.